Hi student, this is Professor Harmony Kim. Chan Buddhism is traced to a teaching the Buddha gave by silently holding up a lotus flower. The general audience was perplexed, but the disciple Mahakassapa understood the significance and smiled subtly. The implication of this is that the essence of the Dharma is beyond world. In Chan Buddhism and Korean Son Buddhism as well, essence is transmitted from teacher to disciple in a certain moment, breakthrough of understanding. The meaning that Mahakassapa understood was passed down in a lineage of 28 Indian patriarchs to Bodhidharma. It is impossible to understand the Buddha and Mahakassapa through ordinary sense. For example, it is very hard to know about other person's inner mind. It is impossible to comprehend what other person really thinks, what the person's mental state is, without exchanging verbal or physical communications. Nevertheless, when the Buddha lifted the lotus flower, how Mahakassapa knows what the Buddha means, simultaneously followed by both agree with mild smile. This episode is written in Gateless Gate Sutra and is well known as Mahakassapa, entitled to the successor in transmitting authentic Dharma by the Buddha. It can be inferred that this incident represents the characteristic of meditation attainment in a way that phenomena can be recognized to people whose mental states are coherently connected at the same level. When Bodhidharma arrived in China during the 5th century CE, Confucianism and Taoism were prevailed social value in China. Introducing Buddhism was regarded as a foreign intrusion rather than another approach to attain spiritual liberation. In this context, disseminating the Buddha's teachings by virtue of the Buddhist scripture was not expedient. This gives rise to various ways of flourishing meditation techniques in China. The invention of Gong'an or Koan in China might be necessary. What is Gong'an? Basically, they are short poses, such as, what was the appearance of your face before your ancestors were born? Or, what is the sound of one hand clapping? This kind of a puzzle challenging one's usual thinking of way with respect to relating to oneself and to the world. Unlike China, Confucianism was not highly influential in Korean peninsula until the end of Goryeo dynasty, that is around the mid-14th century CE. So before the mid-14th century CE, Confucianism or Taoism cannot be highly influential in Korean peninsula. Several kinds of Buddhism were introduced to Korean peninsula, for example, Indian Buddhism to Gaya Kingdom. Vinaya emphasized early Buddhism to Baekje Kingdom, etc. However, as the historical record of Korean meditation, named Gwanha-son, can be traced in Goryeo dynasty. Therefore, I will speak about development and establishment of Kanhwa-son in unified Silla and Goryeo dynasty. During Goryeo dynasty, Buddhism manages to retain some power by maintaining alliance with the existing civil ministers and nobles. In this context, state preceptor Doi received his son transmission from Zizang in China. So Zizang is the master in China, and Doi receive and transmit Zizang's son technique. Bodhidharma is the founder of Chinese patriarch Chan. The first 6 great patriarchs in China were Bodhidharma, Hega, Sungchan, Dosin, Hong'an, and Hanung. Kanhwa-son was developed by Dehui, and Dehui was a noted Son master of the Song China. Korean master named Jinul understood the theory and practice of Kanhwa-son. Son master Bojo Jinul introduced Kanhwa-son for the first time to Korea and brought 정해결사. 정해결사 is a practice movement to cultivate both meditation and wisdom. So, in China, there might be another kinds of meditation technique, which is different from Kanhwa-son. And Kanhwa-son was developed by Dehui around 11th century CE. This technique was introduced to Goryeo dynasty by Son master Bojo Jinul. By the end of Goryeo dynasty, Kanhwa-son had become further established by 3 eminent monks. One of them was Master Taego Bo-u. Taego Bo-u was greatly awakened in a sudden flash of insight by way of Kanhwa-son practice. His awakening was confirmed by Master Shi Wei Qingkong of Yuan, China. Another monk who contributed to establish Kanhwa-son was Master Naong Hagen. Master Naong received a robe, ceremonial fly whisk, and a letter in Sanskrit from Son Master Qigong, who was a virtuous master from India. One more monk who participated in establishing Kanhwa-son was Master Baek-un Kyung-han. Master Baek-un was known for having compiled and printed the oldest metal-type printed book, the renowned Anthology of Direct Pointing to the Essence of Mind. The contributions of Master Naong and Master Baek-un were outstanding, but it was Master Taego Bo-u who spread widely and established firmly Kanhwa-son at the end of Goryeo dynasty, because Master Taego clearly established a Kanhwa-son practice system. So, Kanhwa-son stands for Korean Buddhism. Chan Buddhism has become Son Buddhism in Korea in the form of Kanhwa-son. The systematic practice of Kanhwa-son is made up of 3 stages. First stage, breaking through the hadu. Second stage, seeking out a true lineage teacher. Third stage, having one's realization confirmed. In other words, systematic approach to Kanhwa Son was breaking through Hwadu. What is Hwadu? I will introduce it a little bit later. Then, while you are practicing Hwadu, you need to seek out a true lineage teacher. In other words, you need to seek out master who can lead you, who can guide you. And finally, the practitioner have one's realization confirmed by spiritual master. The main characteristic of Kanhwa Son lies in Hwadu. Hwadu acts as the subject of meditation. The literal meaning of Hwadu is head of worlds, or beyond worlds, or before worlds. Hwadu has been originated from 1700 koans, which were recorded from Patriarch Chuan Master in China. A part of koan, namely a word or a phrase, form Hwadu, and they must be repeated until the practitioner reach calm and insight. The mental progress of a Hwadu practice is described by Son Master as follows. The core of Kanhwa Son practice is the investigation of the Hwadu that cuts off the tracks of language and thought. And once these traces disappear, one becomes free and independent. The Hwadu cuts off all the practitioner's pathways of thought. The body and mind become full with the heat of questioning, and finally it leads to the state where the mass of doubt explodes. You only have to concentrate on the Hwadu. Heaven and earth become one huge mass of doubt. One then reach the place where one can neither advance nor retreat. So when practitioners keep work with Hwadu, their thinking of way transformed, and then they reach certain level in which the practitioner cannot advance and cannot retreat. Let's think about Hwadu a little bit more. Hwadu is the subject of meditation in Kanhwa Son. The etymology of Hwadu is head of words. In other words, cutting off the pathway of language and thought. So, Hwadu means beyond words and acts as a skillful means to enter mind-to-mind transmission. How Hwadu practice can alter ordinary cognitive process. Automatic manner of sensation take place when sensory organ contact sensory stimuli. For example, when eye contact visual object, visual sensation take place. When nose contact chemical substance, olfactory sensation takes place. When ear contact wave sound, auditory sensation takes place, and so on. Practicing Hwadu intervene this automatic thought process and preventing from the progress to the mental fabrication such as desire, greed, and delusion. Desire, greed, and delusion are referred to as three poison. It is three poison that shackle liberation from all sorts of condition. Hwadu practice disrupt the ordinary mental process. 3 poisons are imbued with human life. That's why humans have suffering all the time. 3 poisons shackle liberation, and 3 poisons are unconsciously embedded in a daily life. In the process of Hwadu-oriented Kanhwa-son practice, the barrier of discriminative point of view can be overcome, then the preliminary stage of tranquility can be reached. Hwadu practice must work with live words, not dead words. Words or phrases, logically well-cognized theories or concepts can lead the thought process in a discriminative way. When the word lead thought process in a discriminative way, we call those words dead words. So, nonsensical words or phrase of Hwadu can halt habitually built-in cognitive process and transform it into the non-discriminative consciousness. Doubt and questioning must be accompanied with Hwadu, and recollecting Hwadu by repeat Hwadu over and over and over again, committed by questioning it. For instance, why the Hwadu say so? It has been wondered whether Hwadu-oriented Kanhwa-son of Korean Buddhism has been the authentic movement of meditation from the early Buddhism, which was taught by the Buddha. In early Buddhism, mindfulness of breathing was popular meditation technique. In addition to that, there was another meditation technique named element meditation. This meditation technique is called the 10 Kazina meditation, which belong to Samatha meditation. There are Samatha meditation and Vipassana meditation, but this element meditation in early Buddhism belong to the category of Samatha meditation. Mahasakuludahi Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya introduced the 10 Kazina as meditation subject by stating, I proclaim to my disciple the way to develop the 10 Kazina bases. 1. Contemplate the earth Kazina above, below, and across, undivided and immeasurable. Another contemplates the water Kazina. Another contemplates the fire Kazina. Another contemplates the air Kazina. Yellow Kazina, red Kazina, white Kazina. Another contemplates the space Kazina. Another contemplates the consciousness Kazina above, below, and across, undivided and immeasurable. And thereby many disciples of mine abide, having reached the perfection and consummation of direct knowledge. The 10 Kazinas is enumerated in Samgiti Sutta of Digha Nikaya as the object for the attainment of absorption. 10 objects for the attainment of absorption. He perceives the earth Kazina, water Kazina, fire Kazina, wind Kazina, blue Kazina, yellow Kazina, the red Kazina, the white Kazina, the space Kazina, the consciousness Kazina above, below, on all sides, undivided, unbounded. The etymology of Kazina means all, complete, whole. The Kazina is a meditation object derived from a physical device that provides a support for acquiring the inwardly visualized sign. Thus, for example, a disc made of clay can be used as the preliminary object for practicing the earth Kazina. Or a bowl of water can be used as the preliminary object for practicing the water Kazina. The Book of the Tens in Anguttara Nikaya describes the 10 Kazina as the ultimate goal to attain. Why I'm introducing element meditation, such as the 10 Kazina? Because there's some similarity between 10 Kazina and Hwadu-oriented Ganhwaseon in Korean meditation. In order to find out the similar or different features of meditation technique between Ganhwaseon and early Buddhism, let's look into the procedure of Kazina meditation based on Earth Kazina written in Visuddhimagga. Visuddhimagga is Buddhist literature written by Buddhaghosa. The procedure of Kazina starts by attending and perceiving the earth by holding the mind to the earth Kazina in order to build up the sign of the earth. And you keep an eye on this physical earth disk with brown clay color and perceive the earth by holding the mind to the earth Kazina in order to build up the sign of the earth. Once the physical earth disk is formed, contemplate the clay with the dawn color, like a pale brown color. In case of difficulty in marking an earth Kazina, make the Kazina of clay with the color of the dawn. You can make this kind of physical earth disk. Then the sign, nimitta, can be developed by saying earth, 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 earth more than 8,000 times. So you attend physical earth disk and you keep saying earth, earth, earth 8,000 times. The contact between eyes and the clay by way of the 5 sense organ is followed by the mind door. The mind door generates the mental image of earth Kazina. What is the meaning of 5 sense door and mind door? So your cognitive scheme starts with 5 sense doors, such as you or I contact this physical earth disk. We call that process 5 sense door. And then when you keep saying earth, earth, earth 8,000 times, this 5 sense door is followed by mind door. So when your mind is fulfilled with earth disk, then the mind door generate the mental image of earth Kazina. What kind of mental image? In the course of developing the earth Kazina in the mind door process, the counterpart sign arises. The appearance of a counterpart sign is described like a mother of a pearl dish well washed. Like this, pearl dish is well washed. Or like the moon's disk coming out of the behind a cloud. Like this. The counterpart sign is the artifact made by your perception, indicating the hindrances and defilement are suppressed. So when you see counterpart sign, you are on the right track. Then the next stage is ready to develop concentration, which will lead to the advanced mental state, such as jhana. When the Kasina meditation is traced back historically, Alex Wayne stated that Kasina meditation was practiced in both Brahmanic and Buddhist circles. However, unlike this cosmological concept of early Brahmanism, in Buddhism, Kasina meditation is edited by emphasizing a deeper level of reality in relation to self. In Majjhima Nikaya, the discourse says the earth element should be seen as it actually is with proper wisdom. Thus, this is not mine. This I am not. This is not myself. When one sees it as it actually is, one becomes disenchanted with the earth element and make the mind dispassionate toward the earth element. Also, Anguttara Nikaya states, being disenchanted and dispassionate to the 10 kasina. So the kasina meditation might start with the earth kasina. But in the course of practice with kasina meditation, the practitioner becomes disenchanted with the earth element, and the mind becomes dispassionate toward the earth element. Therefore, this kasina just acts as a skillful means to suppress three poisons. Isn't it supposed to hold and contemplate the kasina all the time until being enlightened? Maybe holding one over 10 kasina does not mean to stick to yourself, rather emphasizing the kasina as a tool to attain serenity rather than achievement. Do not hold the earth kasina based on a fascination linked to the experience. This fascination represents entangled to permanent self. Once the practitioner reaches tranquility, this tool, this earth kasina, must be thrown away. This allows the meditators to realize cognitive quality apt to be defined without a given notice. I mentioned that the contact between eyes and earth kasina, such as clay, by way of the five sense door, is followed by the mind door. What does the five sense door and the mind door mean? Let's look at five sense door first. In order to understand the five sense door and mind door process, 17 moments of cognitive processes are introduced from Abhidhammata Sangaha. Abhidhammata Sangaha, also Buddhist literature, which interpret Abhidhamma Pitaka. Cognitive process occurring in the five sense door is enumerated into 17 moments of consciousness. A brief explanation is illustrated with table 1. You can see from first up to 17 moments of consciousness. It starts from Bhavanga. The first 3 moments we call Bhavanga, and the last moment is called register. The cognitive process starts from Bhavanga up to register for each round. Bhavanga is regarded to as a door of the entire process, and register is the last moment in every round of 5 sense door process. 17 moments are composed of the 3 moments of Bhavanga and the rest 14 stages of cognitive process. The cognitive process occurring in the sense doors, in other words, 17 moments of the 5 sense door, is illustrated with the simile of the mango. A certain man with his head covered went to sleep at the foot of a mango tree. Then a ripe mango, loosened from the stalk, fell to the ground, grazing his ear. Now his auditory sense can be stimulated, so this man was awakened by the sound, and he opened his eyes and looked at the mango. Then he stretched out his hand, took the fruit, squeezed it, and smelled it. Having done so, he ate the mango, swallowed it, appreciating its taste, and then went back to sleep. This is entire round of sense door process. Let's look at each moment of cognitive process in a 5 sense door a little bit more detail. The entire 17 moments repeat as the cognition continues to operate. You just heard from me how you can experience the mango first time. You already know the flavor and taste of mango from your memory. But when you have first time to become to know about mango, you will follow exactly this 17 moment of consciousness. The first 3 moments illustrate the beginning of the thought avenue. The first 3 Bhavanga are exercised and active upon the contact of a sense object to the sense door. The moment from 4 to 8, advert, sense, receiving, examining, and establishment, describes one of the 5 sense door is adverted. In case of a visual operation, the eye consciousness is reached out. The visual recognition is mature in accordance with receiving, examining, and eventually getting to the fully cognized state, such as establishment. Moment 9 to 15 is called Javana, means running. In other words, wholesome and unwholesome consciousness is engaged in this stage. Feel terrible from the flavor of a mango, or I love the flavor of a mango. Some wholesome and unwholesome consciousness is engaged in this stage. Also, the concept of self is also formed throughout 7 identical modes in Javana. The moment last 2 register is characterized in registering the object. In other words, the cognitive process up to jhavana fix the sense experience on the memory. So in next round, when you see the mango, you already know the mango, and you appropriately respond to mango. When we go back to the simile of the mango to apply this 17 moment, it turns out that the time of the man's sleeping at the foot of the mango tree is like the time when the babanga is occurring. So man is sleeping under the mango tree, that equivalent to the first 3 stages of babanga. The instant of the ripe mango falling from its stalk and grazing his ear is like the instant of the object striking one of the sense organ, for instance, the ear or the eye. That is this moment. The time of the man's opening his eyes and looking the mango is like eye consciousness accomplishing its function of seeing. So that is this sense moment. Suppose that it's the first time to see the mango. Then, once you see the mango, the next moment is the time of stretching out his hand and taking the mango is like that of the receiving consciousness receiving the object. So this receive moment. The time of squeezing the mango is like that of the investigating consciousness which investigate the object. So once you grab the mango, now you investigate, examine the mango by squeezing, touching. Then the time of smelling the mango is like that of the determining consciousness. So that is the moment of establishment. So receiving, examining, and establishing eventually getting to the fully cognized state. So throughout receive, examine, and determining, then and you fully cognize the mango. The time of eating the mango is like that of jhavana experience. Now you are eating mango, which experience the flavor of the object. Once experience the flavor of mango, humans used to have the conception of like, dislike, or all sorts of emotions. Even in this jhavana stage, the concept of self also conjugated. So running jhavana engages in wholesome and unwholesome consciousness, and the concept of self is also formed. The swallowing of the fruit while appreciating its taste is like the registration consciousness, the last 2 moments. Registering the object means to put the cognitive process in jhavana on the memory. So this experience now register to your memory. So you can remember the mango, you can remember the flavor of the mango next time. And then the man's going back to sleep. Now from here to going back to the first. From here to the next round is going back to the babanga. It's like going back to sleep. It's like the subsidence back into the babanga. This is the cognitive process based on 5 sense door, 5 sense organ. Now, I give example about using the eye by seeing the mango by the eye, then you can follow this 17 moment of consciousness. Therefore, you can fully cognize the mango, and even you can cultivate the memory about the mango. I addressed that five sense door is followed by the mind door. Then what is the mind door process? The fact that the attribute of a sense object are presented in a series of sense door process does not mean that it is sufficient to recognize the object as a whole. The mind door process should be accompanied with a cognition. For example, describing the feeling of color, representing the phenomena, applying sense information for a particular purpose, etc. Those are the examples of mind door process. You think that when your eyes see visual object, you think that you fully know that object. That is not true. Your eye mechanically, physically cognize the object, but your mind followed. Therefore, when you describe a certain visual object, you are using five sense door followed by mind door process. It is a little bit complicated. The one of the characteristic of Abhidharma is really sophisticated and very complex, and then each your cognitive stream can be analyzed as detailed as possible. So you think that when your eyes see the visual object, you think that you fully cognize, but that is only physical sense. When you describe, when you use language, when you think from your mind, you are using mind door process. When you comprehend the phenomena, you might start with sense door process, but it is immediately followed by mind door process. That's why describing the feelings of color, I like blue color, or representing the phenomena or beautiful scenery is so gorgeous. It heals my mind. Or applying sense information for a particular purpose. All these are the example of a mind door process. Of course, you need to have sense door process before mind door process. But sense door process is not sufficient to recognize the object as a whole. The transition from the sense door to the mind door is described in the Abhidhamma Sangaha, as you see in the table in this slide. So mind door process is consequent to the five sense door process. And it is made up of 14 moments, not 17 moments. And when you look at the first three moments, it's the same Vabhanga, which is the same of five sense door process. And eye door process is followed first by a conformational mind door process, which reproduce in the mind door the object just perceived in the sense door process. The conformational mind door process execute the incorporation from the distinct features of the object and represent the object with perceptual identity. Unlike the five sense door process, receiving, examining, and establishing, those three moments do not take place in the mind door process. In Anguttara Nikaya, Kasina meditation is interpreted in the context of the sense and mind door process like this. Though the meditator begins with a physical disc, such as Earth's physical disc, When he can see the kasina clearly with his mind eye, he discards the physical disc and focus solely on the mental image. As concentration deepens, another image, called the counterpart sign, emerges as an anchor of attention. People engage in the sense door followed by mind door processes all the time. For example, when you use language for communication, and let's think about language in the context of 17 moments of cognitive process. For example, when I say that I see the white tiger running in Baekdu Mountain, the verbal expression is resulted from the process of recognition by means of restating main features of the object. Most phenomena described by any language are already processed by these two series of processes, such as sense door process and conformational mind door process. You might not easily understand this cognitive scheme. Sense door, just seeing physical object, and there's some meaning or feeling or some description require follow-up processing. Those processes are referred to as mind door process. So when you speak out, you already pass through sense door and mind door processes. How Hwadu practice is related to this 17 moment of cognitive process. If Hwadu practice is reflected to 17 moments of cognitive process, in the first round, listening or reading the Hwadu at the beginning enters the five sense door process. Then this process is followed by the mind door process. In the first round, the master gives Hwadu, such as short word or short phrase, so you listen and you repeat. So first round is just using five sense door process. In the next round onward, investigating Hwadu join to the mind door because main activity of questioning Hwadu with great doubt does not need the physical sensory contact, does not need physical sensory stimulus. You just conceptually think and pay attention to that word. Keep questioning Hwadu with a doubt. Take cognitive stream into the mind door process rather than starting over from sense door process. Therefore, practicing with Hwadu does not pass through 3 moments belonging to the 5 sense door process. This results in Hwadu practice in 14 moments avenue rather than 17 moments of thought process. This brings Hwadu practice a shortcut of attaining enlightenment compared to Kasina meditation. These two tables in this slide shows 5 sense door process juxtaposed with that of the mind door process. You can see this receive, examine, and establishment. Those 3 moments you cannot find from mind door process. Therefore, mind door process composed of 14 moments where 5 sense door process consists of 17 moments of consciousness. And Kajina practice, you have to engage in looking at the physical disc, physical clay disc in case of earth Kajina practice. Therefore, you have to look at that physical disc and saying earth, 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 earth 8,000 times. Therefore, you have to commit this receive, exam, establishment, these moments, every round of cognitive scheme. In case of Hwadu, you just have great doubt about Hwadu. Why does Hwadu say so? What is the meaning of Hwadu? When you think something else, you need to bring your attention to Hwadu. When you think about, oh, I need to go to the laundry, then, oh no, I have to bring my cognition to Hwadu. You do not need any physical contact. Therefore, you just only work with this mind door advert. All your cognitive scheme operate with 14 moments of consciousness every round. Again, questioning Hwadu with great doubt takes cognitive stream into the mind door process without passing through 3 moments belonging to the 5 sense door, such as receiving, examining, and establishing. Heavily engaged in intellectual inquiry on Hwadu practice does not depend on the 5 sense door process, which result in shortening cognitive process from 17 to 14 moments. Mind door process transforms the mind from the sense sphere plane to the fine material sphere plane in which jhana can be facilitated in experience. Therefore, Hwadu practice can provide a shortcut of being awakened compared to the other types of meditation. For example, mindfulness meditation based on 5 khandha. When the Hwadu practice with a mass of doubt reaches at the maximum, the mental state is described as silver mountain and iron wall. Once silver mountain and iron wall becomes penetrated, its mental quality is expressed like this. Mystical light shines timelessly, or wisdom arises as spontaneously as the sun appears when clouds clear. As if there are thousands of suns shining in the sky. These mental states can be similar to the mental state described like the moon's disk coming out of from behind a cloud in Kajina practice. Moon's disk coming out of from behind a cloud in Kajina practice and the sun appears when clouds clear are regarded to the similar mental quality as representing the attainment of jhana. So, from the fact that similar features are found between Kanhwa-son and early Buddhism, the meditation practice by means of Hwadu identify the authentic trace of early Buddhism to Kanhwa-son in Korean Buddhism. In conclusion, based on the cognitive process in Abhidhamma Sangaha, Kajina practice occurs in the 5 sense door followed by the mind door, whereas Hwadu practice is heavily focused on the mind door process, which shortens the cognitive process from 17 to 14 stages, which facilitate to reach sati and samadhi, mindfulness, sati, and samadhi, concentration. Kasina and Hwadu practices differ in detailed method, but are not dissimilar to attaining one of their goals, that is, mindfulness, sati. The 10 kasina was not what the Buddha made himself. However, the Buddha interpreted the original kasina practice in a way that the resulting mental quality is conducive to attain sati and samadhi. Given that, it is not unreasonable to stress that Hwadu-oriented practice carries on the authentic movement of meditation practice from early Buddhism to Kanhason in Korean Buddhism. So today you study what types of meditation actively engaged in Korea even nowadays, and we compare the theory and technique of Kanhwason is authentic approach of meditation compared to Kajina meditation in early Buddhism. In conclusion, it is not unreasonable to stress that Hwadu-oriented practice carries on the authentic movement of meditation practice from early Buddhism to Kanhwason in Korean Buddhism. What is Korean Son meditation called? The answer is the title of some slide in this lecture, so you can find the answer easily. Which of the following is called the meditative object of Kanhwason practice? Kongan, chanting, Hwadu, bowing. Bowing means just bending the body in front of a Buddha statue. We call that bowing. So 1 out of 4 answer samples be a meditative object of Kanhwason practice. So you can choose the answer. Which of the following does not represent the element of the 10 kasina? 10 kinds of element. What are those 10 elements? And then 1 out of 4 answer samples should not be the member of 10 element. What is that? So you write down the answer and you submit the quiz answer to my email address. And the due of this quiz is September 4th, Wednesday. This is the end of today's lecture.